Throughout our life, there will always be teachers that mold and shape us into who we are today. For some of us, it's our high school English teachers who make us reflect on who we are. Or, for some of us, maybe it's our science teachers who help shape the way we view the nature around us. For others, it is our elementary school PE teachers. At least that is what the students at Freedom Intermediate in Franklin, Tennessee would say. Coach Tom Jones has been a PE teacher for 5th and 6th graders at Franklin Intermediate for 18 years. His day begins with carpool duty at 7:15 in the morning. When that ends, his day of teaching begins.
All right, the only time you need to set it is if you're able to get the ball right here, like Coach said yesterday, it's going to hit you in the head. Then you can set it. If not, most of the time you should be bumping it.
All right, we have 4 different teams. They get to play if they get a point is bad in this game. Once they get 1 point, they're okay. Once they get the 2nd point, they have to sit down, and their group is done. So we play till we get a winner. We've been doing this for about 15 years here at this school. And like I say, we have presented it at conferences. Other schools play the game. I don't know if we have started it, but we were the first ones I knew of that played it. It's a great game. All the kids can participate at this age with volleyball. Most of these kids can't play a regular volleyball game because they can't hit the ball over the net. But when we use these size balls, they'll work. The ball costs $4 from Walmart, and it's been good for about 7 years. So that's the kind of equipment that's needed in the nets. But the kids have always liked it, and we have a lot of kids, because they've had success at volleyball here, they play at the middle school. And our middle school volleyball team is one of the best around. They always have a good team. They'll usually have anywhere from 30 to 40 of our girls try out for volleyball. But we try to make it fun here. But then next year they get competitive and they have to play as a team.
After some teaching gets done, it's time for a little lunch duty.
Supervising lunch duty. That means that I try to stop food fights and kids from misbehaving. They have to raise their hand before they can get up. And then I watch if there's a spill or if there's a mess or if there's a fight, that we take care of that. That's what we're doing. There's always 2 supervisors in here plus an aide. So there's always 3 people in the lunchroom, and there's 24 to a table, basically. Most of the time they're well behaved. I don't hardly ever have any problems. Every once in a while kids will throw grapes or something, but nothing bad. Yeah, Johnny. Most of the time they ask like that. They're polite. They get up, they ask to get ketchup. That's okay. It used to be just me and one other person doing it. This was arranged differently. They used to be on that outside of the halls. We had all the tables, and it would be me and one other gentleman. And one day, one of the kids had spilled something, and Mr. Vaden didn't see it. And it's just me and him out here. He starts to walk, and he slipped right down in this milk. A whole thing of milk on the floor. His whole back, everything was in milk. And that was probably about the best thing that's happened, and I was just glad it was him and not me.
Whether it's watching the kids at lunch or teaching, it is obvious to everyone at Freedom Intermediate that Coach Jones is a man well loved and respected by coworkers and, of course, his students.
I think Coach Jones is a great coach. Me too.
He's a very good coach in school and out of school. He's my favorite coach.
He's funny and nice.
He's awesome and super nice.
He's nice and he's funny and he is caring.
He's really encouraging. He's wacky, funny.
He's amazing, and I know I'm his favorite.
Many coworkers think Coach Jones is so well liked with his students because of his compassion towards them and his funny nicknames.
The kids love him because he kids around with them, and he has goofy names, and I'm sure you've heard him. He'll take like a last name if it sounds like any other word or fruit or vegetable or then that's what he calls them, and they pretend like they don't like it, but they do. He has a nickname for probably almost every kid here.
What I love about Tom is the same thing I love about me and several other teachers who are very strict, and that is the kids know when we mean business, and that if we do have to get upset with them, then on the other hand, we still do love them. And I see that in Tom. He is great with the children. He has nicknames for all of them, which I think is precious.
He's awesome and funny, and he made a weird nickname for me, Madison Square Garden.
He's a very compassionate person, and I know he does a lot of things behind the scenes for people, which he doesn't think any of us know, but we do, and that's just very touching. My husband has cancer, or he's in remission right now, but he has had it, and Tom was very, very compassionate when I told him that, and was just very kind. And so I will always remember those particular things about him.
No one works with Coach Jones more than the other PE teacher, Brett Burgess. Brett shares what all he has learned from Coach Jones.
I've definitely learned things from Coach Jones. You know, he's just so easygoing, and I tend to be that way too, but I think we both learned from each other quite a bit. You know, just his attitude and the way he interacts with the kids, I think has had an influence on me in the way I do that as well. So I feel like we complement each other well. He can read a situation and handle it really well, and you know, it's helped me. But we complement each other well, and you know, I mean, I love working with him. We have a good time. So.
Coach Jones talks about one of his favorite memories he's had while teaching and the reason behind his nicknames.
It was probably my 4th or 5th year here. We always had these 9-pound medicine balls, and we make kids walk and hold them as they go around the gym. They don't run with them, but they have to hold them, and it does help build some upper body strength. Even though 9 pounds is real heavy, it's pretty heavy to these kids. And we would always catch the kids setting the ball on their head while they're walking. And one day I told them, I said, guys, you know, you can't do that. I said, I used to do that. And I said, when I did that, I had a full head of hair like you've got now. And then look what happened. I said, that's why they call it medicine ball. There's some medicine in there, and some of that medicine will affect your hair. And it was the next day after I told them that, a parent calls and talks to the nurse at the time and tells the nurse that the PE teacher has made their kid start losing their hair because they put medicine on their scalp. And she noticed his hair falling out last night because of the medicine that Coach Jones had put on the boy's head. And so I can remember the kid coming in there the next day, and I was serious, and I said, show me where is your hair falling out over it? He goes, yeah, my mom said it was coming out, and he showed me a little part of his head, and you know, I couldn't see nothing. But then I tried to explain to him that I was kidding, that this is called a medicine ball, but there's actually no medicine in the ball. And so I never heard any more from the mama, but I'm careful now when I joke with kids, because you can say something to a 5th or 6th grader that you think is funny, that's just a joke, and they take it very seriously.
What's funny to me is I just give it to them because it's something that helps me remember them. And so out of 700 kids that I see during a year, I can't remember all of them's first and last name anymore. So if it's something that just comes to me that I can say, you know, that name, and then I've got something stuck with it, like that one girl had, you know, 15 years ago, Rakia, and Rockhead. But I always ask them if that bothers them. You know, I'll call them to them a couple times, and then I'll say, does that bother you? And sometimes they'll tell me, yeah, and I won't do it anymore. But I've had so many nicknames, and I know this year we've got a little girl that we call Skippy, just because of the way she comes in the gym and she's kind of skipping when she comes in. And now other kids are calling her Skippy. And she came to me the other day and said, "You know, Coach, some of my friends are calling me Skippy now." And I said, "Okay." And she said, "Was that okay?" She goes, "Yeah." And so now I have, just like I say, I mean, my kids do. I call a lot of girls Lucy, and they don't, I just call them that because they may have red hair, so I call them Lucy. And then some of them now, unfortunately, they don't know who Lucy is, but that's okay.
Coach Jones says what he thinks makes a good teacher.
A good teacher, kids respond to a good teacher. Kids know whether you like them or not. And I think a good teacher, kids have to know you like them. They may understand that you have to punish them, but deep down they know, well, he likes me. He's doing this for my good. And kids can sense that. And I believe that. I think when anybody thinks back of their favorite teachers, it is teachers that they not only liked, but teachers they learned from too. Because even though he might have been your favorite teacher, he was a teacher in that you learned stuff in his classroom. You behaved because you wanted to behave in his classroom, right? There are expectations, things that kids have, and I think that's what makes a good teacher. The kids like you, they respond to you, and you're going to have some that misbehave, some that don't do well. But overall, in a class of 25 kids, if you can get 22 of them to follow what you want to do and do exactly like you like for them to do, then you're going to be a successful teacher.
Coach Jones shares the importance of teaching and why he loves it.
I enjoy kids. I enjoy teaching kids. I've always liked that. I've had such a diverse group of kids over the years that it's fun to see them grow. I mean, the 5th and 6th grade years are good years. And I see them again in 7th and 8th grade, and every once in a while I'll see the high school kids and they'll come back and see me, and you see such a difference in them and how they change. One of the neatest things is what's happened it was probably 4 years ago, and I went to the middle school, and my assistant principal, who's my athletic director, I was specifically going to see him to talk to him some questions about our golf schedule. And I walked into the middle school cafeteria, and the kids stood up and started clapping and saying my name. And it's just so weird, but it's like, what a neat feeling, And I think it's things like that, knowing that kids respond to you, that's really makes teaching fun. To make, to do what you think, you make a difference in kids' lives, to give them a positive influence. A lot of people think, well, it's just physical education, you're not teaching anything, but you're teaching a lot of things. You're teaching a lot of values, you're teaching about sportsmanship, you're teaching about social issues, about being able to get along with other people that are diverse. When there's an argument, when kids are fussing, how do you get them to get along? So there's a lot of things that we do in physical education that aren't necessarily related to, math or English, but it's things that kids will remember the rest of their lives. I guarantee you I have kids that remember things we do in gym class, like playing a game like Pisagi, like ping pong, longer than they'll remember anything they did in their math or their English classes. So I think that we do have a very positive influence on kids. And like I said, I've always liked it. It's just something silly, like the other day after class, that little girl comes up and gives me a hug, and it's just, there's something about that you can't explain, It's just really nice.